Right, okay, this week you have got the lesson title ¿Qué hay en tu dormitorio? What is there in your bedroom? So we're going to be looking at different things that you might find in your bedroom, but we're also going to link it to the adjectives that we've seen over the last few lessons and also opinions. So basically, complete this lesson in your exercise books or a piece of paper or on a Word document if you prefer. When you finish the full lesson, open up the answers PowerPoint and mark your work in a different coloured pen, please. And then when you've done that, you can submit or upload a picture to show my homework, please, as that helps me see how you're getting on with your work or maybe what you're struggling with and enables me to give you a bit of feedback. And then when you finish this week, your second week, you're not going to have a quiz on show my homework. You're going to have some time to work through Quizlet. Right, okay, on this slide, what you're going to do is you've got ¿Qué hay en tu dormitorio? So what's in your bedroom, and then you've got the sentence starter, en mi dormitorio hay, so in my bedroom there is. And then you've got A to M that I would like you to work out the English for. So write the full list into your book. You might want to colour code them, so you've got A to D go with un, so they are masculine. So un means a or an, masculine, and then you've got E to M that go with una because they are feminine. So una would be a or an, feminine. Look for words that look similar to English first, so cognates. So for example, una televisión would be a television. So work out the words that you know first that you can sort of work out. And then when you've finished finding the patterns, go on wordreference.com and you type in armario and it would tell you the English. When you've finished all of that, I'd like you to open up that answers PowerPoint, please, and mark your work in a different coloured pen and correct any that you might have got wrong or any that you didn't know. You can add the answers in. If you want to challenge yourself, so this is specifically for 7 Upper 1, 7 Upper 2, 7 Upper 3, however, you can be in any group and do this as well. It's just a bit more of a challenge. Think of any extra things that you might find in your room or words that you want to know in Spanish to describe your room and add those to the bottom of your list. Right, okay, on this slide you are using the listening resource and you are basically listening to the 5 young people speak, and then you can write down the letters that you hear. So you have got this bit here, so if you hover over this, it will allow you to play the audio. And basically you listen, you write 1 to 5 in your margin and you write the letters A to F. So as you can see, A would be una mesa, for example, C is una cama. You might need to listen to this multiple times, but that's absolutely fine. And then when you finish, you can open up the answers PowerPoint and mark your work. Right, okay, on this slide, it's translations 1 to 5, and as you can see, you have got 7 Upper 1, 7 Upper 2, and 7 Upper 3. You're translating sentences 1 to 5 into English. 7 Upper 4, 7 Upper 5, and 7M1, I'd like you to translate 1 to 4. 7M2, 7M3, and Foundation Score, I'd like you to translate 1 to 3, and if you need extra support, go back to slide 2. If you can, if you're in 7 Upper 1, 7 Upper 2, 7 Upper 3, try and do this from memory as much as you can. You can see that there are bits that get a little bit more complicated, so you've got opinions towards the end and reasons. And basically, if you're struggling with any specific words, you can use wordreference.com to find out the meaning. But ideally, I'd like you to write the Spanish out in your book and then translate the English underneath. And again, when you finish, you can open up that answers PowerPoint and mark your work and correct any mistakes that you've made. Right, okay, on this slide we're looking at prepositions. So prepositions are words like next to, between, on top of, behind, in front of. So this is going to help us specifically say where different things are in our room. So basically you've got 1 to 6, you've got encima de, debajo de, al lado de, delante de, detrás de, and entre. And what I would like you to do is to see if you can work out what they match up to A to F. This is quite challenging, so just try your absolute best. and then you can basically open up the answers PowerPoint and mark your work at the end. I've put an ojo box, so like a be careful box at the bottom. So you've got one, S start with an accent on the A is it is. So it is in terms of a location. And then you've got, if you have de and L together, it doesn't go to del, it goes to del. And then your last one says a bit of a hint for your entry does not use de after it. So that's just maybe make a note of that in your book because that will help you later on. But basically, match them up. If you're struggling, you could always use wordreference.com, but definitely open up that answers PowerPoint to check your work because these will come in handy further on in the lesson. Right, okay, this slide is all about donde está el ratoncito Perez? So where is Perez the mouse? So on all of those pictures, where is he? And then you've got sentences 1 to 6 that include prepositions, so entre, encima de, delante de, al lado de, and then your different things that you might find in the bedroom. So la silla, la mesa, el ordenador, la estantería, etc. So all of that we saw on that second slide, and then your prepositions that we've just seen, and you've opened up the answers PowerPoint by this point and marked them. So basically, for 7 upper 1, 7 upper 2, 7 upper 3, you are translating those sentences 1 to 6 into English and then match it to the correct letter. So whichever picture you think that sentence goes with. 7 upper 4, 7 upper 5, 7 and 1, you translate 1 to 3. Using slide 5 for support, and then you can match the sentences 1 to 6 with the correct letter A to F. So for example, if you think sentence 1, you might match it up with F. By the way, that's not right, that's just an example of what I'd see in your book. 7 upper 2, 7 upper 3, 7M2, 7M3 and foundation school, I would like you to match up 1 to 6 with the correct letter and using slide 5 for support, so you don't need to translate them, but you could do if you want to challenge yourself. Again, you can open up that answers PowerPoint when you finish your slide and mark your work. I've also given you a Banco de Palabras Útiles, a keyword bank that just gives you a few words that you need to help you work out how to structure your sentences. Right, okay, your final slide is using that picture that we had on the listening exercise at the start. So you're basically looking at this bedroom, or you could imagine your own bedroom or a bedroom that you would love to have, so maybe your dream bedroom, and I'd like you to write as many sentences as you can to describe it. So you can use, I'd like you to use prepositions, so things like under, next to, on top of, behind, colours, or any other adjectives. But the thing to bear in mind about this is you would always place your adjective or your colour after whatever you are describing, and it has to agree. So for example, if you were trying to say a red bed, it would have to be una cama roja. It couldn't be una cama rojo. So really your hint is if whatever you're talking about, so the bed or whatever, if that ends with a, or if it's feminine, your colour should also end in a. Obviously there's exceptions to that rule, so things like azul, that doesn't change, verde, that doesn't change, rosa doesn't change to rosso in masculine. So just be aware of that. You have covered this, but basically you just make sure your adjectives agree with whatever you are describing. I've also given you an example, so you've got la lámpara pequeña, so it wouldn't be la lámpara pequeño, you've got to have that A on the end of pequeña. You've got a checklist as well. This will just help you write the best answer that you possibly can. So you say what there is or what there isn't in your room. When you've done that, tick it off. Use prepositions, use colours, and I've given you an example of how to structure it. So una cama blanca, it wouldn't be una blanca cama. So just remember your colour always goes after whatever you're describing. I've given you an example of where to position your adjective. So una silla grande, a big chair. So your adjectives always go after whatever you're describing. And then I've said you could use intensifiers. So muy bastante, un poco, muy very, bastante quite, un poco a bit. And could you also use opinions and explain them? So that's very much comes in handy with what ties in well with what we did last week. So the lesson on Como es tu casa, where we looked at opinions and we developed them. Could you also maybe use that grid from the Como es tu casa lesson and add in some fancy words that we looked at? So stuff like dado que, given that, or lo mejor, lo peor. So you could always open up that PowerPoint just to extend your answer a little bit. And then when you've finished all of that, I'd like you to draw the bedroom that you've described and maybe label it in Spanish and make that as colourful and creative as possible. Right, okay, like I said to you, after every single activity, open up that answers PowerPoint or wait till the end of the lesson, open up the answers PowerPoint and mark and correct your work in a different coloured pen. That will help you learn from your mistakes. And then when you've finished in the second week, you can then go on Quizlet and learn your vocab properly. Right, I hope you all have a brilliant week. Any questions, just put on show my homework and I will answer as best as I can. And stay safe. Thank you.